If I may.
Yes, you may.
I have never been so grateful for the love. She literally showed me love when I first met her. Love is a wonderful thing, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yes, ma'am.
When did you first meet her?
When the people, when his son, and then the wife bought the house.
Adrian and Matthew.
They came to my garage. I haven't been up there so junky. I don't know. I was had the garage door open. Then they came. The husband, the wife came and introduced themselves and say hi. We just bought the house. You know, we're your neighbors and blah blah blah. I said, well, hi, how are you? And I didn't expect to see.
In Seder, and in Thanksgiving, and in Christmas.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
That's what I'm trying to say. Now, the people who live here prior to them moving here, buying this house, I will admit when I was sick, the wife did come over a few times, and she would bring me some oatmeal, because I like the way she cooks it, and sit and talk with me but they never invited me over here. Now I'm just talking about the mother. Now I don't want to get into the husband and the wife and all that part of the family because it's about the mother.
That's right. Grandma Joe.
And Grandma Joe. So all I'm just saying is that I have never been so elated in the treatment, in the respect that I received from this woman, with whom she the one needs the treatment and respect. She's the one that needs it, and then not so much needed. We should give it to her because she earned it. She earned it. And so all I just want to say is that you just gave me a different perspective on your race.
I got it.
Ooh.
I am happy I did that.
You did it.
I did it.
And I didn't expect it.
Why?
I didn't want it.
Yeah.
I didn't even need it.
But you're happy to have it.
But you did it. But you did it.
You deserved it.
Well, that's enough stuff. And the only reason, and I will say this too, now, Michelle. And then too, how she know me? From her son and his wife. They're the ones that had to told her. They had to have told her. Well, there's a Miss D next door. We invite her. We want her. We're gonna invite her to come over, celebrate your birthday. Not this day, because like you said, it's been a few years now.
Yeah.
So I'm blessed.
Very nice.
Yes, I'm blessed, and I appreciate her, and I thank her, and I thank the Matt and Matthew, as I call him, Matt, and Adrian, because without them I would have never met her.
Yay.
We thank you, Joan. Thank you.
Well, I'd like to say something. I met Joan through Jazzercise, and I think right away we hit it off. And she was, she's the cutest little thing with red hair. Oh my God, she's a little tiny thing.
Spitfire.
Anyway, she just participated. We have parties. We still do have parties, not as many. And you were the first one. You were the first one to bring. More so than the other girls.
Yeah.
And we always had a good time. And one thing I have to say about Joan, we never hear her talk about really bad things. It was always in the positive. Even if somebody was not so nice. But Joan always had a good word and looked at the good side. And she's just, she's so congenial. She's just a joy to have around.
Because
And I hope we have more parties to
I
come.
love it.
Next
Wait,
week's
wait, wait,
Labor
wait.
Day.
Wait a minute. Why is that diamond ring is on your hand? What is that right there?
But now is the official hostess. We were there Memorial Day at her house, and Bill entertaining. They have dinner parties. We were there for 4th of July. What else? Something else came up. There were
Oh,
three.
Mother's Day, but I
Yes.
think you were gone. You were gone for a couple.
Well, but we have wonderful parties. at her
Yes,
house.
we do.
Yeah, but tell me about that ring on your wedding, your finger, on your wedding finger.
What?
And on the left hand.
That's her engagement
That's
ring.
my engagement ring.
Are you engaged?
Yeah.
Yes, I was, but I kept it. I kept it going.
You mean from your previous husband?
Yes.
This was the engagement ring.
Yeah.
Outstanding.
My only husband.
And you're still with the only husband.
Yeah.
And you're still wearing it.
Yeah.
That means don't nobody look at me because I'm
I'll
taking
turn it around.
Yeah, that's outstanding. That's outstanding.
But Carmel, I love you.
I know, I
And
love you
I'm
too.
thrilled that you
Joan.
and Bill are here today.
I
Yes.
am thrilled to
It's
be
a
here
very
with the
exclusive
family.
group. And I only invited you and Bill and Mimi. Mimi is out of town visiting her daughter. But I'm
Yes.
thrilled that
Yes.
you're here.
But she sent flowers, and I have a message from her.
Okay.
I have a message from Mimi that's upstairs. I'll have
and
to go get it.
flowers
Okay,
from her,
Matthew.
too.
Nice,
Right.
nice.
Thank
And Bill
you.
would like to
Yeah,
say something.
Right.
Well, like I told Matthew, I was a little slow on the RSVP because I got the job late to RSVP, but I said, your mom is one of Carmel's best friends, and I think the same thing of her. She's special.
Oh, yeah.
She treats me like a friend that friendship that we've had for a decade.
Well, you're special.
Yeah. Anyway.
And we always love when she comes to the parties. She's like the second hostess. Just a joy to have.
Well, she's the second person in 20 years that gave me a kiss, so that makes sense.
I doubt it.
Where is he going?
Speaking of that, I've got two quick stories. I remember the first time I came here to San Diego and met Claire's family, all of you wonderful people. I was very, very nervous the whole time. Like even after I got to know you all and friendly with everybody, but there's always that sort of veil of nervousness when talking to significant
My family
others.
especially.
Yeah. Very nerve-wracking. But I remember the first time I came here, and it was a morning, and everyone else was getting ready, and you were sitting there on the couch, and I was in the chair, and we just talked, and and it had been so long since I had just a regular conversation where I didn't feel the sort of panic of needing to make a joke or something like that. It really meant a lot to me. It really did. It really was a very beautiful moment for me. It made me feel great. And then also a different moment on Claire's graduation, the first time I met you. She'd just done her beautiful show, and we were saying goodbye, and you kissed me right in the lips. And I was like, you know what?
He does have good lips.
I like
He does
this
have good
lady.
lips. Yeah.
You're in.
She's like, yeah, I'm in. Good lady.
Grandma Joan.
Gold.
Kiss her.
Oh, man.
Jasper, do I make you nervous?
You all do.
Stephen, you have a story?
Oh, God.
Keep it clean.
Yeah.
A million stories.
Pick one.
Well, the most recent thing that I can think of that it keeps running through my mind that really impressed me about my mother most recently was...
Louder, talk louder.
No.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, man, she's her son.
So she was... we actually went to go get food for the lunch when Carmel was coming
Oh, for
over.
Carmel, yeah,
And
we
you
went to the
drove.
Italian restaurant.
You drove, and I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, she's 90 years old, and she's driving the car. But you know what? She did such a fabulous job. And I went, oh, it's Mom. It's just saying, she's always been an independent woman who would
Independent
get in the
woman.
car and drive us to San Francisco in the Ford Torino because you wanted to go. And we went, and we had a great time, and it was fun.
Yeah.
And she still can drive. And I was like, all right, I can relax. So it's a little bit kind of like Jasper, It's like I was scared shitless to drive. And yet she did such a...
I remember that trip. We went in the station where we took Miss Okuda's kid,
Yeah.
and Marie Claude's sister was with us, and yes, and you.
Joni, you driving Johnny got hired.
Yeah, and we stayed down at the wharf.
Yeah.
San Francisco.
That was a fun trip.
Yeah. We blamed it on the blueberry and maple syrup combination.
Now, you're the youngest son, right?
What's that?
You're the youngest son.
He's the baby.
Yeah.
He's the baby.
And,
The oldest, youngest.
He's the most mature, though.
She's great.
And beg your pardon.
So I don't know if that's a metaphor for life, but she's sure behind the
definitely
wheel,
take
and she always has
Thank
been.
you.
With 4 boys, and all.
I'm sure it's really good.
She's
But John's a
always
I
been
know.
accepting of everything that we've done, you know.
I know.
Even though some of
Don't, I was
the,
kidding.
I consider myself to be an underachiever, but that's okay. It is. I mean, you know, what the hell? I never was interested in becoming a millionaire or anything like that. We had plenty growing up, and all I really needed would have been my mother and father. I didn't need the big house or the cars or anything.
Yeah,
like
but your
that.
father was a doctor, though, right?
A lot of fun.
And I realized, you know, material things are not all that's important, and she doesn't.
That's
and
right.
She cares, and yet she doesn't care.
Good
I don't,
times.
you know. So she's an excellent influence,
That's
and
right.
I'm very proud to be your son. Very happy to be your son. You have met some fabulous people because of you.
Yeah, we have
You know,
some
from
good
the
friends
old,
over the
you know,
years.
like Dick right over
Yeah,
here,
this one
sitting
and
with
this
us.
one.
I mean, just you gave us all that. You and Dad, you know, you
Yeah.
gave us that power to go out there and meet people and know who we like and know who we don't like, and even like them sometimes.
Oh, so don't discriminate.
No.
Oh, that's why she has this relationship. Oh.
Well, only against Jews.
And it's
Not against me. I didn't know if I was even born, but I was. But no. Based on what
She
you
only
said, based on what you
discriminates against
said,
Uh-huh.
she taught you. Listen, you go out here and you mix and mingle with any and everybody because you know, yeah, that you. But you got to know people to know how to deal with people
Yeah.
and how to handle people.
I think a lot of it was intuitiveness.
Yes.
We've all, of my brothers, I think we're all fairly intuitive.
And you remember John Peebles?
Yeah.
Stephen thought that he was gay. He came and confessed to me one day. I think I'm gay because he was in love with John Peebles. He was just a kid.
Steven's face, please.
Didn't I tell you?
News to me.
And you remember Stephen? Stephen, remember they came and stayed with us in Monticello, and he stayed in the trailer.
Right.
And you went out to the trailer, and you were talking with him. John. And I remember you later, you confessed you were worried you were gay because you really loved him.
It's kind of sweet, actually. It's really sweet. Beautiful.
He was a good friend.
And you'd make the worst gay guy, believe me. The worst. The worst.
Man,
I was told.
wow, on that note,
There's this stool over here.
on
Yes.
that note,
You have a story?
What?
I have a story. It's not so, here, let's see. So I did, Grandma, you remember when I did that production of In the Heights a few years
Sure,
ago?
I just saw the movie.
So I told Claire this story the other night. So we were doing rehearsals, and I was playing a mother in the show. And the director was like, I want you to think of strong women in your life. I want you to think of strong matriarchs that you know of who you know, can kind of command a room and who are the head of the family, and someone who embodies that. And so naturally I thought of my grandmother.
I never knew that.
And we start running through the thing, and the director stops us and he goes, don't you want to play her a little more soft-spoken? Don't you want to play her a little more demure? And I was like, I turned to the woman I was playing opposite, and I was like, I don't know what crack this guy's smoking, but he's clearly never met my grandmother, because this woman has the fire of 1,000 suns within her. Like, Philip told the story about going to Jazzercise, but I had been working out and I thought I was, hot stuff. And we went to Jazzercise recently. And I was like, oh yeah, this is okay. This is cool. No, it's not. No, it's not. Oh my God, it hurts. And here she was, going and going and going and having a grand old time. And I just wanted to tell you that you are a spitfire and an inspiration.
Yes.
And you have molded the women in this family into a force of nature.
Wow.
Like,
Wow.
I would argue.
Which is pretty good considering you had 4 boys.
My granddaughter played that part.
Did you see the movie?
Yeah.
But it was playing that role brought me, I think, closer to thinking about the mindset that you must have had as a woman growing up in the time that you did and raising your boys and doing what you did.
Very important time.
And the choices that you must have had to make. And just an incredible amount of respect and love.
You,
and
thank you.
Lisa's asked to go next.
Okay. Joan, darling.
Yes, dear.
I met Joan in 1985 when I was dating John. And John brought me home for a weekend. And I met the whole crew at one time. So all the boys and Bob and Joan. And for those of you who don't know, Bob, who was also a force of nature and always commanded the entire room over everyone else.
I like Dick's laugh at that. That was perfect. That was very good.
It was amazing and wonderful. But Joan, as I quickly learned, was really the backbone of the family and really ruled the roost, so to speak. Absolutely, she ruled. She was the queen. And
Still is.
she accepted me right away. Just took me in and was wonderful.
I'm still hanging on.
Yes. And after John and I had our son, and then after John and I divorced, we remained friends, obviously, because we had a son together, and we were friends anyway. So Joan still accepted me and never ever let that go. And I will always be grateful for that. And she accepted Amy and all the other women that came along. But it's meant the world to me, and I don't know if she knows how much I love her.
You didn't accept the one in the middle.
But how much I love her. She also took my husband in, and
she also accepted my son
as
her own grandson.
Yes, she treated Austin like he was exactly one of the family.
I'm so sorry. You want to sit next to your husband? We can switch. Let's switch.
No, I didn't know this. No, I live with him. I don't have to sit next to him.
No, we're fine.
We're good. So I love you, Joan, and I treasure you.
That's why I sent you a special invite. Please come to my party.
And that's why I gave you that picture, because I know you wanted to have that picture to kiss with Philip, so it's now in a frame for you. You're welcome. Yes.
Well, I had a meeting an hour and a half north of where I live, so I knew coming down here. I didn't realize I was going to be coming all the way down to Mexico to get here. I've been on the road for almost 8 hours today just to get here for this party, so that's why I would not miss this party.
Okay.
8 hours. That's like traveling from here to New York.
And you're going back tonight? Yeah.
Wow.
And I make you that
You're
day,
going to stay as a motel.
No, it's just 3 hours home now.
Tell a little story.
Please.
So I didn't know if I should bring this up because it involves sex. So
I don't know what they got to do with your mouth.
I don't remember exactly how old we were at the time, but we were all doing the S thing, and you were in the seminars. And you came home one day from the About Sex seminar.
Yeah.
And you had some great realization that you wanted to share with me. And you were chasing me around the house going, Jimmy, I want to share with you, Jimmy. And I'm going, Mom, I don't want to hear this. I don't need to hear this. And you cornered me on the stairs. I'm on the stairs going, Mom, I don't need to know this. And you go, but Jimmy, I love you. I want to share with you. And I don't remember the rest. I think I was so traumatized. I just blocked it out. I don't either, actually. Like I said, I was traumatized. But you had this wonderful breakthrough and you wanted to share it. I'm just saying there are some things about your mother you don't need to know.
Jimmy, she just wanted to tell you she was gay.
It wasn't a seminar that your father was leading.
No, he wasn't leading it, but it was, the About Sex seminar.
Did Bob lead a seminar on sex? That doesn't surprise
About
me.
sex,
at all. Oh my
You didn't
God.
hear what I said.
Oh.
She's so
Yes,
deaf.
and he said,
You didn't even hear what I said.
what?
But that would be
Just
so
select
awesome.
hearing.
I said, you didn't even hear what I said.
Oh,
She was
no.
sitting around.
No, I
And I
didn't.
said,
Two of you.
all you
Yes, there are 4 of us.
I think I passed.
Never mind. I ruined the moment.
Matthew, did you want to go?
No, you go. It's all right.
So I've got a couple
I'm
stories.
just the guy holding the camera.
So I think one of the sort of traits that my mother has is that she's very forward and honest, and you can always believe what she's saying. And for the first 10 years of my life, I swear, she never lied to me, as far as I knew.
I never liked you?
You never lied. You never lied to me.
You were always honest. You never.
Oh,
always
yeah, I heard
honest.
that.
Until my 10th birthday, when we went to Kelly's restaurant in Long Beach. And we were ordering our meals. And she swore to me that this soup that we were getting was potato soup. Now, keep in mind, I would not eat seafood. I wouldn't even want to come close to seafood. So she swore that it was potato soup. And I ate it, and I loved it. And afterwards, she told me, John, that was clam chowder.
He's also good.
Imagine, it's like the damage that it did to me, that my mother that never lied to me was telling me this fib.
Well, if it was New England clam chowder, it was a white lie.
Yeah. It was Manhattan clam chowder.
Oh, it was a red one.
But one other story that really comes to mind, and I'm glad that Jimmy brought up the S training, because obviously for our family it made a huge impact. And there was this moment, thank you. But go ahead, come on. So there was this moment, actually my mom and I we reviewed the training together at one time. And there's a moment during the training where you kind of you're diving into your relationship with your parents. And my mom was sitting, I think, right in front of me or right behind me, I forget, but it was one or the other. And there was a moment where they said, okay, look into your relationship with your mother and kind of, what worked about the blah, 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 what issues did you have? And so literally you were supposed to kind of have like a share with somebody, talk to somebody there. And I remember her turning to her, we looked at each other and we said, we have no problems, do we? And it was just like,
Something to share. It's a special time in our lives.
It's such a gift. Because the relationships you have with your parents are so important in who you are, and
That's
it
right.
just says so much about who she is.
That's right.
Oh,
Praise God.
very emotional.
He does everything. But when I see him,
Praise God.
I think I have known Joan longer than
Anyone.
all but 2 or 3 people here. I've known her longer than most of you are old.
Right. Yeah. That's right.
Back in 1954, I was a medical resident at Cedars of Lebanon Hospital. Bob was a surgical resident at Cedars of Lebanon Hospital. We became good friends. I met Joan at Matthew's Bris.
Oh my God!
And I know all about you.
All about you.
And over the years, Jan, who was my wife and very, very dear, darling, bright, beautiful person, and Joan became very, very, very dear, close friends. And one thing I remember about Joan particularly, she and Bob lived about 5 blocks away from us for a short period of time before they moved on in their circle of houses where they lived, because Bob was breastless, I guess. Anyhow, we had hired a couple to be our people at home. And Jan, unfortunately, had to go to a important meeting and leave the house to the couple.
Betsy was a little infant at that time. Betsy, stand
crib.
up. She was an infant. That was an infant at one time, but anyhow, suddenly Jan called home and no one answered the phone. The couple had ransacked the house and left, leaving Betsy all by herself in the crib.
Oh my God.
Jan called Joan. Joan went to the house and stayed with Betsy until Jan came home, hopefully telling Jan that Betsy was okay, which she did. And since that time, and before that time, we've had many, many good, close episodes and love and everything good. And I can't tell you how proud I am of you now. Thank you.
And our kids grew up together.
Yep.
Yeah, literally.
Well, I actually remember I was 6 months old. I remember when Joan came and rescued me. No, just kidding.
You're in your crib.
Yeah. No, fortunately I don't. But
Fortunately, no one hurt you.
Joan, I mean, she was always like the mother everybody wanted to have because, I mean, she was so warm and so much fun and so accepting and but really strong, really grounded. You know, just like the ultimate mom, you know.
Grounded.
And I think of her as my surrogate mom today. And I remember a really early memory of mine is going camping with my family and with Joan and her family in this trailer. And I loved it. I don't know, I was maybe
Lake
3.
Casitas.
Yes, like 3.
And Wally and Arnold were there.
Yes, and I remember that, and I loved it. I just fell in love with that trailer. I just couldn't get enough of it. And my mom hated camping. She was a city girl. She just wasn't her thing. But I still remember it, and I loved it, you know?
You came and slept with us in our trailer.
Yes.
Because they were in a car, I think, a station wagon or something. We said,
Oh, yeah?
let Betsy sleep with us.
Yeah.
In the trailer.
Yeah, and I just loved it.
Yeah, that
and
was a special
there's so many good
weekend.
memories of swimming at their house and their swimming pool, a lot of good swimming pool. And they always wanted Stephen and I to get together. Sorry, it didn't work out. But you know how parents are. So yeah. But, and your boys were so much fun. And your boys never were mean. They never teased or anything like that. Never. And this is a wonderful part of my life. Joan, you are.
Thank you. Lots of good times together. Yeah, lots of good memories, you guys. Well, I want to have to tell this story about how we met.
Mom, we're not done.
Yeah.
Amy has a story.
Sorry,
I want to share
you.
something. So when I first started spending time with you and Bob, I had a really hard time accepting how sometimes I felt you were talked to, and if he would give you the finger or do something. And John would say, "Don't worry about my mom. She's great. She's got this." And we were going to the movies one night, and you got pissed at Bob. You said, "Get your fat ass." And I was like, "Yes, Joe." I had so much respect from you from that point.
In Idlewild, were we?
No, it was Alberton.
We had moved?
Thank you for always accepting me and my son and of course our family and my mom who loves you so much.
And you know what? I said to John over the weekend, John came to this meeting, and I love that dog so much. And I said, that dog is very much like him. He's very sweet. He likes to be loved. And then when he's finished with you, he goes off in his own little room and he sits down in the corner and doesn't bother anyone. He's
Our
so
dog.
sweet, and he's just a lovely, lovely dog.
No.
He just shows
She's saying
your
how the dog is
personality.
like my mom.
I love him. And you.
I can't remember any stories per se, but Joan has always been like my older sister.
Yeah.
And we've
buddy.
always had a close relationship all my life. So I remember when the boys were born and Joan turned me on to bacon because she was feeding Matthew bacon every morning, all this bacon. That's all he ate, and I love bacon. To this day, I love bacon. And Bobby was such a brusque son of a bitch, but you know what? He was so sweet, and he called me before he passed away, and he told me, he said he didn't want to go on anymore, and he told me what his decision was, and I told him I respect your decision, and I'm with you, whatever you want to do. But they were great, and I got to tell you that everything that's been said about Joan is the truth, but you can't not look at her 4 boys and see what wonderful men they are. They've always been that way. There's never been a problem that I know of, except when Stephen lived with me for 6 months. But other than that, other than that, look at them. They're all menches.
Yeah, they are. And you said to me, I want him to move out. I said, so tell him to move.
So I did. I said, Stephen, get the hell out of my house and go with young people.
This is not your day today.
He had a relationship with Nanny's rocking chair and my TV. I'm glad you said that.
It was a great time.
We did have a good time.
Yeah, we did. And I
We
really
did.
agreed on, you told me to get out, and I got out.
That's because I thought you
I know what I'm
needed to
not
be.
wanted.
I thought you needed to be around your other people, friends.
Other gay people.
No. I thought you didn't need to be with somebody older. You needed to be out with your friends,
Yeah, so I went on and got a girlfriend who was 20 years old.
Oh, yes, I remember that.
All right.
Did he really?
We'll focus back in now.
Yes.
They were at our wedding. They came to our wedding. John's at my wedding.
Steven.
She was beautiful. She was a model.
Wait, I wanted to share about our memories of Grandma in Idlewild.
remember that.
Quick, for whoever was there. My favorite memories of you and Grandpa are going camping, which you talked about. They took us in their motorhome all over the place. And your house in Idlewild, that magical house. Yeah, anyone who's been there knows how special that house was. And your beautiful rose-colored bathroom full of jewelry that you let us try on, so glamorous. And you had this a closet full of silk slips and shoes and everything, and we got to wear everything. Yeah. Laura and I got to try everything on. And Michael. And Michael tried them all on too.
He still does.
And does he? That's wonderful.
No, I'm kidding.
And it was like a magic every time we saw you. Was magic.
We played dress up.
Yeah, we did, and then became actors. So thanks for that. And that you were there every single show, and there were a lot of shows. Every single show, every single grandparents' day at school, every single mass, which was funny because you didn't go to mass. And so you'd sit there and talk about people in the congregation, which was very fun for me. Yeah. And just that I know not everybody gets that from their grandparents, and not everybody has grandparents like this and has a family like this, which is all because of you and Grandpa. I thank you. Love you so much. Thank you. Happy birthday.
Claire, I think that you started out with your career earlier, because when we went camping at Newport Dunes, remember that?
I have pictures.
When Carlos and I with the grandchildren, and we were together. And the little kids, how old were you? Like 7 or 8, we were sitting there at this table, and all of a sudden Claire goes, "It was a dark and stormy night." And she started these stories, and she went on and on and on.
Really?
It was
Yeah.
You told the whole story.
I probably did.
She's still at every show.
Every show. She's still at every show.
because we keep becoming actors.
Yeah.
It must be the Kaplan curse.
I guess so.
She was brought up on Shakespeare. Yes,
I know.
your performances.
Starting with the name of the house in Idlewild.
You have to go.
I have a tattoo. That's right, my tattoo is right.
Say goodbye.
Holy
We didn't see that.
Amy.
You got a story? I mean, I think it's similar to what a lot of the grandchildren, what people have said. It's just, I only lived in close vicinity to you until I was like 5 years old, but I've still felt your presence incredibly in my life because, like Claire, you would make the 8-hour drive or flight or something to go see when I was doing a band performance or anything like that, or my high school graduation, you were right in the crowd and I couldn't hear, I gave a speech and I heard you in the video being, that's my granddaughter. It's just stuff like that where you had such just like an implicit belief in all of us that I think you've passed down to all of us. We just believe in everything that we can do, and I mean, it's the same thing. I can feel it from my dad. I can feel all you've done for all of us because he takes pride in me and he believes in me, and I feel the same thing from you always. You have such a belief that we can do whatever we want to do, and I don't know. I'm proud to be your granddaughter.
I'm proud of you. Thank you.
I would like to say.
What?
Yeah, well, there is only one person on this earth right now who has known me longer than Joan, and that's my father.
That's right.
We talked about Matt's bris. I was there. I was maybe about that high or crawling, but I was
It's amazing.
there.
It was so impressive. Everyone remembers.
In your mother's arms.
That's what that is, but I'm not going to say that.
I think I might have been there too.
Oh God, the memory.
Well, somebody said a little bit off the top, and they just they didn't.
Did you give them any warning?
I for somebody who has known Joan for so long, the memories just have all mushed together in a way that I can't really pick one particular.
Yeah.
But I do remember that every time that we would go to see Joan and Bob, or that they would come to see us, it was always a really special occasion.
Yes.
And for my mother to be with Joan meant that there was going to be two of the happiest women on the face of the earth.
Yeah.
And that was just really something that, made being the kids of those two women very good. So.
Who's your mother?
Yes.
Yeah, we didn't see a lot of.
Who was my mother? Jan.
Dick's wife.
She passed away
a while ago.
May she rest in peace.
Yeah, we did. We loved each other.
Yeah, it was very, very close.
Yeah.
So, and the families were
Very
like this
close.
for so
Very
long.
I remember going swimming over at your house.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh, and I remember, I think it was Matthew. Dad took Matthew over to your house one day, and I guess Wally Lavin was there playing bridge, and so Matthew said to his dad, "Who are all these people? We don't even know them."
Sounds like Matthew.
Well, as I said at Jan Baum's memorial service,
I miss Jan's
Oh,
gallery.
okay.
She had the best
can I give this to
gallery.
you? If I'm going to talk?
Yeah, you're gonna talk.
You have a picture?
As I said at Jan's memorial service, that home was my home away from home. I was there, it seemed like all the damn time that they had put up with me. And I was,
loved it.
well, thank you, Dad. I was telling Rowan today, because he's a train nut, he's a train freak.
Yeah, the train.
And that we would go into the train room where the train went all the way around the room, and you go under the track to go inside or to flip up or something. Anyway, it was wonderful. It was a great place, and the pool. You talk about our pool, your pool with the little cabana, and I think at least 4 of us taking a shower together, Rick and his sister. And you said that they tried to set you up with Stephen? I didn't know that. they tried to set me up with your sister
Yeah, that's
Hallie
right.
Ann. So I guess that just kept going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's taken.
To the point. I will-
Hallie and you.
Yeah, I wanted, and Hallie was great. I loved Hallie, but we were not going to be a couple. But they kept working on it. When I said I wanted to see Sammy Davis Jr. for my birthday, they said, okay, that was pretty nice. I mean, you know, Coconut Grove, my God,
Yeah.
I worship Sammy Davis. And they said, and the Baums want to come because they would really enjoy it too, and maybe Hallie Ann will come. Okay, yeah, sure, why not? We like them. And so they had Hallie Ann and I sit together, and you know, then they had the photographer who comes around the nightclubs, takes pictures. It wasn't until years later that I found the photo that the guy had taken of Hallie and me in a heart. They were planning ahead. So, please tell Hallie, tell your sister.
Hook you up.
I loved her to death, but I don't think either of us really thought of it. And she was great.
Would have been a great son-in-law.
Thank you, Dick. You just keep it up, man. This is wonderful. Did you just stay? I told Betsy, this is not the story about my mother, but I told Betsy I'd tell the story because you were starting to tell it, but you were too little to remember it. I told this at your mom's memorial too.
Right, but I remember that night. I remember the whole deal.
Yeah, but I'm sure you were stuck. You couldn't go with us because we couldn't all fit in one car, and it was, I don't know if it was Rosh Hashanah or Yom Kippur, but it was, you know, high holy days. And so we had to go down to the Wilshire Temple, but there were too many of us for one car. Well, Rick could drive. Hallie and I were too young to drive, but Rick could drive, and then there was a friend of Hallie's with us who, I don't remember her name, but anyway.
Oh, probably the girl that was living with you, Dr. What's his name?
Janet
Gunther.
Janet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Perhaps.
Anyway, we were all dressed up because, you know, this was a big deal, and we were doing exactly what we were supposed to. We got in the car with Rick, and he drove us to the temple, and we parked, and we walked up almost to the door, and we just kind of looked at each other, and we took off and ran back to the car. We took off for the car, and we headed to the Sunset Strip, which at the time was, you know, that was the strip. You know, this was the 60s, and it was great.
Place to be.
And man, what a night. It was so great. We went into, I remember I bought posters that I put up in my room the next day, and we walked and saw all the freaks on Sunset Boulevard.
Did you have a black light as well?
Yes, yeah, there was, absolutely. It was a religious experience. And so we went back to the house, and I'm pretty sure I said this at the memorial service, that I think we said, oh yeah, we couldn't sit near you, so we were like up in the back. And that it, you know, it didn't come out until the memorial service. As far as
Is that like the only lie you've ever told?
Sorry to say. So, but that's.
Wait, you lied.
It wasn't lying. But I had compatriots. I had colleagues. It was a great night. It's in my memory forever. But that's not about my mother. And really, there hasn't. I could tell stories about her. It's kind of like Rick said. There are too many. They all come together. But you got to talk about my father if you're going to talk about my mother. And some of you knew my father. Most of you actually in here, but some of you didn't. And so you just have to take our word for it. You know, force of nature is usually the cliche that's applied to him because he was. And that could be a really wonderful thing, and it could be a pretty bad thing at times.
Because he was.
Not a great thing. And probably would have been a much worse thing had it not been for her.
Amen.
Because even when he wasn't always doing right by her, there was nobody else in the world who was more important to him. And why? He was selfish. He knew how good she was for him. He knew he was never going to find anybody else who would put up with the crap that she put up with and tell him off when the time was right. Tell him, you don't get to do that. And that's how it was, and that's how the relationship went. to his last minutes on earth, when all he wanted to talk about was her.
Yeah.
And taking care of her and making sure she was going to be okay, because he knew that she had made his life work. God knows what he would have been able to achieve, or what depths he might have reached if it had not been for her. And that goes for the rest of us too.
Yeah.
So, there you go. Dick your
Bob was an exceptional person.
Yes.
Very volatile.
Yes.
Up and down.
Yeah.
Made decisions very rapidly. He was driving a car. It conked out. It coasted into the garage of a Buick agency. Died. He bought a Buick and drove out. Absolutely wonderful in many ways. If it hadn't been for Joan standing by him, I don't know where he'd be now. He was an exceptional person. His life paralleled mine in many ways, and he just was exceptional. He won a Bronze Star during the war for something that was really heroic. And his whole life was patterned after being a hero. Movable around hero, but a hero. The Bob.
Are you listening, Bobby?
Yeah. Go ahead.
You better stand up.
I better stand up. Hello. Joan remarkably has never given me advice. Now that's not a big deal if you're just talking about anyone, but for a mother-in-law not to give her daughter-in-law advice is remarkable. She has admitted that she's bitten her tongue many times. That's okay. That's okay. But you've taught me a tremendous amount about, Bobby used to say allow for slippage.
Yes.
And you live that. And when things have happened, in this family, and I get very pissed off at people, and I'm very righteous, and you show me what it means to be inclusive and tolerant, and that you are going to do everything you can to keep everyone together. And that's a fabulous.
And did you tell him how I shared my ice cream with you?
And when I first met Joan, I was wearing a yellow dress. We were at Johnny's graduation dinner at the Ginger Man.
Now, who's Johnny?
Johnny's over there.
Oh, okay.
And well, first of all, it was great fun to have these guys, these brothers, and we had fun. And it was, anyways, for some reason, I think we were throwing things around. We were. Anyway, we go to the restaurant and she shared her ice cream with me. And she's always treated me like a daughter. You really have. So, I love you.
Wasn't the Ginger Man Carol O'Connor's restaurant?
Yes, it
I
was.
was there too.
Yeah, it was.
I remember that. Yeah, Carol O'Connor's restaurant. And you always loved the velvet turtle.
Laura, did you raise your
She'd like to
hand?
say something.
She did.
Yeah. She wants to.
No, you're crying. No, you're crying.
I want to second everything that Claire said.
Okay.
I want to second everything that Claire said about you being there, and Lily too. It just that is I have 1,000,001 memories with you because you always showed up for every event and tiny little recital, and now that is carrying over to Rowan's little soccer practice that he came out specifically to see, and he is going to remember that forever.
Yeah.
And so that is how we are. That is. I can't pick any one memory because there's camping in the motorhome, and there's Idlewild, and there's dressing up with everything in your closet, and there's playing with the bears and all over your house, and there's Thanksgivings and Passovers and Christmases because then you started coming for Christmas, and I think of kind of like this idea of like, it's hard not to think about Grandpa in context of thinking about you. And, we miss him, and you are a hero in your own right. You know that you are what made all of this great, and what had him showing up to all those things, because he probably wasn't going to but because of you, he came to my Catholic school grandparents' day and my 3-year-old ballet class recital. So he always showed up. So because of you, I have a better relationship and better memories of him. And I was thinking, speaking of like memories, like I think the earliest memory that I can think of having with him, that like at the time I didn't really understand, but I think I was really little, and he said, because all the time he would always tell us, I love you, I love you so much, and he would just tell us that all the time, but then he would always say, I love you so much, but you know who I love more than I love you? What? Who? That's a weird thing for a 4-year-old to hear. And so I really remember it. He said, I love your grandma the most. I love your grandma more than I love you. And somehow that was totally fine.
Yeah, it was
like that. It's like, oh, that makes sense. Absolutely. And like, that's how it should be. Because if you guys didn't have that bond, then none of this would exist, and that he wouldn't have experienced everything that he experienced. And so thank you so much. I don't know if you did that intentionally or if that's just what you felt like you were going to do.
Just the way it was.
Yeah.
The way it was.
But I so appreciate it, and like, you should know that that's unique. That is like really special, and that's something that we are all going to try to do with our children and family members too.
Yeah. And one thing Bob used to do to Laura when she was just on his shoulder, she would sit on his shoulder and put her head down like that, and he would go. And Adrian finally said, "Stop spitting on my baby." So he kept doing it, and finally Laura said, "Don't do that, Grandpa."
Yes, I'm going to say something, but I want the whole family. I want everybody that wanted to talk say first.
I think Christina wants to.
But I'm an outsider. I feel so privileged to be here with you. This is such a beautiful family. I've heard all of your names for years. I'm going to this one's recital. I'm going to that one's ball game. Every time she was taking off to one of, they're here, I'm going to go here, and then Matt's going to pick me up, and John's going to pick, all kinds. You made it possible when they needed help to go, that somebody was there. And I guess I know Jim the best because he's always looking out for his mom, and I know the other boys are too, but I happen to have spent more time when Jimmy was there. But this is not usual. I mean, I know a lot of families, I really do, and to hear this and these things said by all of you is so special. It really is so special. I met Joan through Jazzercise in Idlewild, and that was a whole new adventure for us. And we met in a funny way, but Bob, God love him, Bob, when he heard we were coming, because their Aunt Seal, Joan's Aunt Seal, was members of our congregation in St. Louis. And the aunt had let Joan know that I think my rabbi is moving to Idlewild. And so when I got there and I joined the garden club, somebody said to me, "There's somebody that wants to meet you." And I said, "Really?" She said, "Yes, somebody that was originally from St. Louis." I said, "Oh." She said, "We'll pick you up, we'll go to the garden club, but make sure, please make sure that Joan Kaplan meets you." And so that was the night we did. I'm gonna let Joan tell the rest of it.
So I came up to her and I said, "I was born in St. Louis." And my mother had a very dear friend named Mary Sophir. Did you know the Sophers? And she said, how did you spell it? Sophir. Leo and Mary Sophir. I'm going on and on, and they were in the paint business. Harriet says, actually, I used to be married to Chuck Sophir.
We're out in the middle of nowhere. We've all been to Idlewild. We're in the middle of nowhere, gorgeous night, everything up. And she said that. I said, stop right there. I mean, and she went on about, my ex this, my ex that. And she went on and on. And I said, stop right there, because I'm hoping we're going to be friends. But Aunt Seal didn't tell her that.
Aunt Seal didn't tell much of anything.
But you wanted to say
the beginning of it, Harriet. Yeah.
She wanted to say something.
I just wanted, all right, I'll try. So, Joan, I'll tell it from the beginning. So
Okay.
I met Joan.
I remember the first day I met you.
We met at this Little Joe's restaurant. Is that the first place we
Yes.
met? Okay.
With your parents
Yes.
and your brother
But you know
David.
what? I had come to stay at your house. That's where we got engaged, Joan, was at your house
In
in
the
Idlewild.
bathroom. In the
That's right, in the
bathroom.
bathroom we got engaged, right? And so that weekend I was very nervous, right? Because I was meeting Joan and Bob and all that. So I ate so much, right? I ate so much. And so after we got engaged, we were at Little Joe's restaurant and you met my family. And Joan said, that Christina, she ate like a pig. And my mother was like, she was taken aback, and I was embarrassed. But I realized that that's Joan. She just tells it like she sees it. You know, she was so different than my mom that it took me time to realize that she didn't mean any harm by it, and she didn't think I was a bad person or whatever, right? And so I think if I hadn't seen Joan's relationship with Bob, and if I hadn't gotten to know her in the way I did and how they interacted, maybe we wouldn't be married as long as we have been, because we have a very volatile relationship. And you know, it's like we can do the same kind of F you, Stephen kind of thing as you guys do. We give it right back, you know, but my mom never did that with my dad. And so I think if I hadn't seen your example, and that can be okay,
Then
that's a
it
way
can
that you
work.
can love each other, is to not let each other get away with shit.
Be truthful.
Yeah, be truthful. Then I don't know if we'd still be together.
And Christina,
you were a very good example in that, Joan.
And you are very tolerant. Let me tell you.
But you gotta be truthful and tolerant, right, Joan?
Christina, I'll second that.
David, I love you dearly.
I think Stephen should get equal time now.
Poor Stephen's getting picked on tonight.
He talked.
Oh, Stephen did.
He did. No, he did.
Something. Yeah, he did. He did. Oh, I thought it was my man right here. I haven't heard him say anything.
Well, he doesn't know her as well.
He don't know us, I know.
Yeah. Anybody
So
else?
Laura and Rob, I can only say one thing. I wish you many, many years of happiness. And we're so proud and so happy of the two of you.
And who's next? And she's next.